Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Happy New Year! Happy 2025! How exciting that we've gone here so quickly. Kind of weird also, but I don't know. I'm excited about this year. I feel hopeful. I don't know. I feel good. I feel like the vibes are high. The vibes are high for this year. And I'm really excited about today's video about showing you guys the setup. So let's get into it. As you can see, we have a little North Star a theme going on here. I've mentioned here before, my favorite color in this world is blue, and yet for some reason I never use it on my spreads. I just never really find a way to bring it into my spreads, and this year we're breaking that curse. This 2025 setup for my bullet journal is blue. The setup for my 2025 reading journal is also blue, and there will be a third one which will also be blue. So yeah, we are breaking that curse. And silly old me, I didn't realize that it was just an issue of the color of fine liner that I was using, because for I think more than a year now I've been using sepia tone fine liners, which I adore them for most drawings, but I wasn't realizing that the sepia fine liner is warm toned, and then the blue shades that I like to use are cool toned. So it had a weird contrast that I didn't like. They kind of canceled each other out, and it didn't look neither warm nor cold. It just looked odd. And I just forgot the basic notion of switching back to a black fine liner like everyone uses. And so, yeah, I just did that. And I tried out this stunning blue marker from Faber-Castell. It comes in a pack, I believe. They are the Pit Artist pen brushes. The main color that I'm going to be using is light indigo 220. It's the most stunning shade of blue that I've seen in my life, and I was absolutely looking forward to using it, and I am using it in 3 notebooks, no less, for the yearly setup. So I'm really excited. I will say, I am pretty sure that at some point in my life, not sure where, maybe in multiple places and multiple designs or illustrations, I've seen something that kind of looks like this cover. I mean, the kind of, North Star situation with like a banner and clouds around it. Thing is, I'm not sure if it was actually a North Star. I'm Portuguese, and a lot of like historical Portuguese like illustrations and stuff, there are nautical themes. And so sometimes I do not know what it's called in English, but you know the little star thingy that points to north, west, east, south? It might have been that. Maybe in a word of a place. I do not know. I know that I had an idea of having seen something like this before. So I'm absolutely not taking any kind of credit for the concept. I did not, in the slightest, copy this from anywhere. I kind of saw this in my mind's eye. I had this kind of glimpse in my head of a North Star with a banner around it and some like clouds and like stars, and it looked really beautiful. And listen, this was a hard one to draw. It made me bring out my ruler, get all technical with it, but it turned out so pretty. And in the kind of banner slash sash around the star, we have an inscription in Latin. It is per astra ad astra. I actually found this in a book that I was reading recently. It was called If We Were Villains by ML Rio. Sorry, I had to check. But they go to a school, and this is the motto of the school. And I had never seen this phrase in Latin before. Apparently it's common in some literature. It means through the suffering to the stars. And I thought that it was the most beautiful thing I have ever read. And I don't know. It felt like the kind of vibe that I wanted to bring to 2025. Actually, in the book, they translate it as through the thorns to the stars, but upon further research in Google, it's through the suffering to the stars. At least it's the most commonly accepted translation. But I don't know. I thought it was really beautiful. And to kind of explain why I wanted to really put this front and center into my 2025 setup, am I the only one that feels like the years between 2020 and 2024 were not real? This is like, were we all in the Matrix here? What was going on? What was happening? Um, these past few years, they've been weird. I don't know. I really don't know how to explain it. Were we all in a social experiment? Um, 2020 was horrible. 2021, not great. 2022, not great either. 2023, okay. 2024 was not bad. Nothing horrible happened, but I don't know. I think a lot of people felt this way. I didn't feel like me. I didn't feel like reality was real. A lot of weird things kept on happening. Like, I I kept on feeling very off center and very disaligned with myself. And I don't know what's happening with 2025. I feel like we were in this weird experiment for years and we're coming out of it. I don't know. I feel so much like myself. I feel so much like I'm getting back to myself. Like, life feels exciting. Life didn't feel exciting before. So, I don't know. I felt like this. I keep on saying, I don't know. I'm sorry about that. But I just felt like this inscription made sense for how I was feeling. And I have to say, I'm sorry for this coming out late in the game. I know that so many content creators came out with their 2025 setups like a month ago or like 2 weeks ago. I have this issue. I have this internal struggle between being a good content creator and being true to myself. Coming out with a 2025 setup in November doesn't feel right to me. I'm still very much living out the end of that year, if that makes sense, and I'm still not in the mood to be so forward thinking and be already like mentally in the next year. It feels wrong to me. So, and also holidays are really busy, family coming over, family outings, and just a lot of chaos everywhere. And the right thing for me this year, it really felt like just slowing down. The video will come out when it comes out. And you know what? It will be what it will be. And I will make my best possible video, but it will come out when it feels right for me and not based on this like mental pressure of when it should or shouldn't come out. Does that make sense? So yeah, I hope that this is still useful for you guys. I hope this is still inspiring. Or maybe just entertaining. Maybe this gives you some ideas for future notebooks. But yeah. We are going in with... This is exciting. This is really exciting. I'm really happy about this. We have the cover, right? But on the left there, you're going to see me create a little pocket out of vellum. And I have these two inserts that will be staying there. Why? This sheet, as you can see, is a cycle syncing page. I will explain it a little bit more, but it's for the entire year. And usually notebooks only last me for 6 months. I do not want to be setting this up entirely again in a new notebook, and I also don't want to be migrating information. This way, it's inserted into a little pocket. If the notebook ends before the year does, I just grab the little sheet of paper, put it in another pocket in the new notebook, and it's done with that. I do not have to bother with doing this again. The other one, we will see in a little bit. But basically, what I want to do this year, part of the reason why I feel like I've been so out of touch with myself has been not listening to my body. And that really sucks. And I also realized something about the way that I bullet journal. I realized that I really don't reach for my bullet journal as much as I should, which is stupid because I enjoy bullet journaling, is why I'm here. But I really don't. And I realized that I'm organizing my life as if I was a man. But what I mean by that is we have this kind of pressure to do the same thing every single day and to have this fixed routine that works every single day. And even I was on this meal plan to lose weight and I was eating the same thing every single day. I was like, this makes no sense. I have very different phases in my life, in my cycle, that have different levels of energy. They have different needs. They have different everything. it doesn't make sense for me to be doing the same thing every single day, or to be pushing myself to be doing the same thing every single day when my body does not need the same thing every single day. Does that make sense? So I just realized that I really needed to regroup, reground, get in touch with my body, and being a woman, that really ties in with my cycle, because in case you don't know, we don't just have like a normal phase and then menstrual phase. We have 4 phases: menstrual, follicular, ovulatory, and luteal phase. Sorry, I was missing the last word. So we have 4 phases, and each one of those phases have different needs as far as rest, as far as nutrition, different best scenarios as far as the workouts that you can do. My English is failing me. But I really felt the need to look further into this and to reconnect with my cycle and with the natural web and flow of my body. I had looked at this like back in 2021, and it was just something that I found really interesting. I had a whole Pinterest board on it, but then I kind of just tuned out because life happened and other things came up. But I really want to reconnect. So we have this second insert, which is food for the cycle. We have the 4 phases, and we have in categories the things that are best for you to eat as a nutrition standpoint, and also as far as teas, because you can really help to regulate your cycle with some teas. And also, just aside from the issue of me wanting to reconnect with myself, I have PCOS. So it is really good for me to be in tune with my body and kind of try natural ways of being in tune with my cycle and hopefully regulating a little bit. And apparently this is a good method for women that have PCOS. So we're trying this. Also, the thing with the food for the cycle insert, I really want to start being a little bit more serious about meal planning and meal prepping this year, and so I want to refer to that. And that one, it doesn't even have any year related information, so I can just get it out of the notebook, migrate it to further years. I can put it in my fridge. I can do whatever I want with it. So yeah, I thought it was really dandy for it to be right at the beginning of my 2025 setup. Moving on to my future log, I switched this up a little bit as well. I went really minimal with the illustrations here. The main thing was really for it to be functional, and also after such a illustrated cover, I kind of needed a little bit of a break, as much as I absolutely adore this theme and I really think it's my best work so far. I wanted to tune it down a little bit, at least for this spread. Don't worry, it'll pick back up a little bit again. But for my future log, I really found the need to, one, I always need a calendar, like a full year calendar in my yearly setups. It's just, I find that I keep on reaching either for my phone or feeling kind of scrambled if I don't have one. So it needed to be here, it needed to be done. So we have the full calendar there, and then I wanted some space to write things down. So we have boxes next to the calendar so that I can write down whatever I need. Because I felt like I used to do the calendar with a space underneath each month to write things down. And sometimes there were months that I ran out of space. There were months where I didn't write down anything at all. And so I needed to work a way around that. And I also wanted a little bit more space to write as a whole. So the little boxes came to mind. And I decided to try this out and see how this works. The boxes in question are for birthdays, trips, events, and appointments. And the one for trips is a little bit bigger just because usually when it comes to trips, you really are planning them really in the future, and you need some place to write things down. And I'm not going to just be writing down like when I leave and when I come back. I'll be writing down like flight information, hotel information, maybe places that I want to see. And also I want to travel a little bit more this year, even if it's just like inside of my own country. I want to see more things. I want to do more things. And I really found that these were the main four things that I just write down in a future log. Birthdays, some birthdays I don't want to forget. Appointments, because sometimes you plan out appointments a few months in advance. And events, I don't usually have that many events to go to, but just in case, I have somewhere to write everything down. By the way, the markers that I'm using, they are two Faber-Castell and two Tombows. The blue ones are Faber-Castell. They are both the Pit Artist pen brushes. And the beige and the gray are from Tombow. Do not ask me for shade numbers from the Tombows because they are faded out. I do not know what numbers those are, but I will leave the references for the Faber-Castell ones in the description because they are really beautiful and they work really well together, and in case you guys need that. As far as the lettering for this setup, I loved playing around with the darker blue and then with a drop shadow with the lighter blue and with the little dots in white. I thought it was so pretty. Moving on to the spread. Listen, we need to talk. We need to talk. This is my favorite spread within this setup, aside from the cover, of course. But listen, this is my astrological events spread. I did this last year. You guys absolutely loved it. I'm really happy about that. And I will explain why I do that. But if you look at what I've written down in pencil there on a page, it does not say astrological events. It says astrological events. And I am... You guys, this took me an ungodly amount of time to realize what I had done. I took my sweet time drafting this out. I took my sweet time drawing this out on camera. It took me way longer than it should have to realize what I had done. I think I was like halfway into coloring when I realized what I had done. Worst thing is, I'm pretty sure I did the same thing last year, but I just fixed it up before I was recording. I don't know what it is. My brain does not register astrological right. So astrological events. But yeah. I decided to not try to cover it up when I realized what was going on. I just added the missing lo on top of it, and it actually turned out so cute. So I'm happy with that decision. But if you ever feel bad about making stupid mistakes, don't. But yeah, as far as how I use this, I have mentioned this before in my 2024 video, but I like to register predominantly phases of the moon, mostly like new moons, full moons, Mercury retrogrades, eclipses. Reason being, regardless of whether you believe in astrology or not, the moon rules water. The human body is 70% water, okay? And I can tell you right now, as someone who has worked with people for 9 years now, I can tell you that whenever there is a full moon, people go weird. They go berserk, they do weird things. In that 2024 video, I had so many people in my comments saying, yep, I'm a nurse. Full moons bring on a full ER. Yep, I'm a teacher. Kids get weird on full moons. People get weird on full moons. And I work in a company that deals with technology. Weird things happen on Mercury retrogrades. Mercury retrogrades, something happens with Mercury and communications and technology. Things stop working. There are hackers going on. Things just go weird. And I find that I like to keep track of these things just so that I know what I can count on. So yeah, and also eclipses. Eclipses are basically like full moons on steroids. So whenever something's, going weirdly, weird day at work, people are being exceptionally stupid, things are not working as they should, I just refer back to this page. I was like, oh, great. I'm not insane. People have been stupider than usual. So yeah, if you work with people, this might be useful for you. And if you do actually believe in astrology, it might also be worth considering tracking other things like the full phases of the moon. So, not just new moon and full moon. It might be worth considering tracking like motions of Venus, Mars, Saturn, um, keeping track of more retrogrades, more directs, things like that. But it's something that I find really funny. I personally do like astrology. I find that it's really interesting, and I wish there was more research on it. I mean, there have been astrologers literally for millennia, and it's weird how things do really line up with what is happening in the stars. And I wish there was more research on it, because I feel like we just don't research it because it's not a real science, but it will never be a real science if no one researches it. Does that make sense? So, but yeah. And here I went with a little bit of a fuller illustration. I wanted to use that darker blue as a background somewhere, and I decided to go here. And then for the smaller details, I went with the gel pen instead of the black fine liner. I thought that would look really cute, and I'm really happy with my decision. And no, at this point I'm pretty sure that I hadn't realized that I wrote astrological instead of astrological yet. But you'll see how I fixed that. It's actually really funny. But I'm really happy how this little side banner turned out, and I wanted some of the illustrations to kind of overflow from it. I didn't want it to be like fully just a banner there and then nothing. So that's what I did. And going in with the lettering, if you're wondering how I'm going to track these, for the moon phases, I'm probably going to draw out little icons next to the months, so that way I know which week it'll hit, or I'll just write it down below. And there's my correction. But I'm just gonna write down below, and anything that I feel like is particularly important, I will just signal out the number of the day, and that's usually what I do. And I don't really write anything else on here. I don't write down anything that happens on those phases or on those events. This is really just for reference sake and nothing more. Again, going in with that blue as my drop shadow for the letters. This effect turned out so pretty, and it looks, this might be weird, like, or maybe naive of me, but I don't know, I think it came out really unique, just the color combo with the lettering. I thought it was so cute. And always going in with a drop shadow in gray because it makes everything pop. Going in for the last spread of this video, I went a little bit more minimal with the spreads for 2025 than I did for 2024. That being because I am actually using a reading journal now, so pages that I use for books are now there. And also I'm setting up a goals bullet journal, so I will have a bullet journal specifically for goal setting, and so those will go on there. That is why you have not seen me write down anything when it comes to goals for the year or the resolutions for the year or anything like that. Those will go in a separate notebook. I feel like that made sense for me. So more on that soon, and more on the reading journal soon. The reading journal one will be coming at you really, really quickly. Just keep a little bit of patience for the goals one. I'm making it extra good for you guys and for me, mostly, because I won't be the one using it. But I want to give you some good ideas on how to maybe do something like that if you want. But basically, these two spreads. The one on the left is for memories. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do this. I saw Jashi Curran. She has this really adorable page where she has little doodles for events throughout the year, and so at the end you just have this page covered in doodles for important events. That looked really cool, so I'm intrigued between maybe that, maybe just writing down dates where important things happened, maybe like gluing down some photos, maybe a compilation of everything, kind of like junk journal, a page for memories of the year. I don't know, but I like the idea of just playing around with memories of the year. And then my important events page, I've done this I believe since the beginning of 2024, essentially just for every month, I write down things that were important for me, things that were important worldwide, as far as just what is going on in the planet, you know? And I find that I really like that. I really like to keep track of what is going on, especially, like I said, the past few years have been kind of weird. And since 2020, my time notion has been really strange. Previously, I could precisely pinpoint what had happened in the year. Yes, this happened in March. Yes, that happened in late August. And right now, you ask me what happened in 2024. I have no idea. I have no clue. I need to refer back to this page because my notion of time has gotten a little bit affected. But yes. And that is my spread. Moving on to the final flip through, I am so happy with how this setup turned out. It's finally blue. It feels like me. It's really beautiful. It's really practical and it aligns with what I want for myself for this year. And I don't know. It's my favorite so far. I'm pretty sure as far as the yearly setups that I've made. And I'm really happy with it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I hope this gave you some ideas. If you want more ideas for yearly spreads to make, I'm going to link my 2024 setup video because back then I wasn't using more than one journal, so I have more spreads set up for the year. Maybe that could be interesting for you guys. If you haven't subscribed to me already, please consider doing so. We have fun over here. And yeah, guys, thank you so much. Have a beautiful year of 2025, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!